Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I don't have a good argument against Mike joining us.
Yes. And you'd have to have a pretty good argument too, because I'm just going to be belligerent and barge in here.
Yeah, so tonight's show is about politicians that don't listen. They can't hear you. They just can't hear what you're saying. I mentioned a couple of times that in previous levy, those who question government, oh, not that, um, were called the noise that destroys. That we didn't have anything smart to say. We didn't have any reasons. We were just noise. And we were destroying everything. You're ruining everything. hmm So, and when I went to the meeting of the city council and said to them things that they don't know about the county government, what's being said there, I said to them, how many times did I say that Cheryl Walker had said this, Mike?
I'd have to say it was 3 if you're referring to the water testing thing and her and Keith Heck saying that the city council didn't care about it. Yeah.
So I tell him this, and Rick Riker, as usual, looks shocked to hear any of this. Okay, well, at least he's hearing it now. And then it was Roy Lindsay who decided during their protected time at the very end to light into me for lying and saying things that are completely untrue. Roy, all you
Well,
need to do is
actually,
listen a little more carefully.
yeah, Dale, it was either that or he was laying hard into the commissioners. It's really it's
Sure.
unclear. It's unclear who he was talking about. He may well have just had enough of those commissioners saying stuff about the city council that's not true.
Brother.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to stand up. I need to get it. He actually said, I'm on my high horse. And the mayor was like, yes, I totally understand and agree. We need to put a stop to lies like these. Buddy, well, wasn't lying. That is what she said. It's a matter of public record. They said it more than once. And you might want to know what they're saying about you. No, no, he couldn't hear me.
I would have hoped to see the response that are they really saying that over there? Because if they're really saying that over there, this is something we need to look into and get this taken care of. You
Yes.
know, but instead to just assume that you are in there lying about what was said I mean, that's easily provable, for crying out loud. Number one, there's a tape. Number two, you're shooting video of the thing. So
Yeah.
they'd say, Mr. Matthews, why don't you prove that,
No
is
problem. Please ask.
right. But they see they've gotten to this place where they just go, well, that's here's Dale again. He's in here lying again.
Well,
And
this is the same guy that said at that Oath Keepers meeting that what happened in the courtroom never happened in the courtroom. So you think it happened, Mike, because you were there. So was I. In fact, I was sitting at the lawyer's table, but it never happened. And the fact that it's on videotape, that's irrelevant. That's
anyway,
Roy
I think,
Lindsay.
yeah,
Yeah.
we all this is so great that they videotape this stuff. They must hate. They must have thought it was really cool in the beginning. Look, we're on TV. And then when people cut up clips of it and they see themselves saying stupid things back, after a while they probably go, yeah, boy, I wish those cameras would break or something.
Their original stand
Inadvertently.
was that they did not want to be on TV. And as a matter of fact, they said at the time in an open meeting, uh, we get enough criticism as it is. Why would we want to have it videotaped?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
good
makes
question.
sense.
I was the only one videotaping them for quite a while, and Dan DeYoung also said, "Well, you're going to see some clips that we're going to show you tonight of the citizen feedback to the council." And Dan DeYoung said during his thing that we played for you, you've seen this. Well, the people that oppose this is after the vote. The people that oppose this are obviously not really interested in public safety. Now, when you see Colleen Martin from the Chamber of Commerce saying, we're vitally interested in public safety. And then Dan DeYoung summarizes what she said and other people said is obviously they're not interested in public safety. They're not hearing these people. Like the commissioners say, well, where are your ideas? Brother, when you see this, people are again and again and again saying this is a mistake, this is not what we want, this is not going to work, and they can't hear them. Now we got a problem because if you've got tone deaf counselors and commissioners, they're just not hearing any of these solutions or any of these warnings to stay out of trouble. Now what are you going to do? Replace them? They can't hear you.
Yeah, that's pretty much the option that you have, the way I see it.
This is now after the fact, after the votes have come in. 78%. After the votes have come in, they're still saying it. What?
Yeah. I just don't think there's any help in these people, no, they're just too steeped in, they're a group, and we've seen the county commissioners do this too. And I forget what it was. I think they were patting themselves on the back for some project that ended up being a big farce, and they, oh yeah, that was wonderful what we did. And
oh yeah, that was in the Courier today. Edward Campuzano suddenly discovered somehow, he's new to the area, that there was this plan to build drones at the Ivy Airport. And so, he looks back at a year ago. That's what they were talking about. We really did a great job about this. You really did a great job. Yeah, and they're in the little back room congratulating each other about what a wonderful job they've done on vetting Manor Development, who was supposed to be doing this. Manor Development, the people with the 3 international telephones that none of them ever pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Just how legit can they possibly be? I mean, you would think on one of the international business lines that they have, that they would have, I don't know, one of those old-fashioned recording machines? Nothing. And when asked about their bona fides, they hung up on the phone. They were angry. Hey, wait a minute. What kind of operation does that? Well, the kind of operation that financed, I'm not making this up, Simon Hare's campaign, his re-election campaign. Big money. Fully vetted by Larry Graves at the airport. So anyway, I thought what would be interesting in kind of saying goodbye, unless the city councilors insist on berating and making fun of and pushing around the voters. I thought it might be fun to listen to what the actual voters said to them at their big meeting where they were supposed to be listening, and then what the mayor has said about them in retrospect. Now that we know what the answer is, he's still saying it. So here is some footage from that time that we gathered that looks okay from the city. Go ahead, Mike.
I just want to say I understand.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Mark Hutto.
Thank you.
I actually live in Medford. I run a coin shop here in town, and I understand the gravity of the situation that we're facing here, being downtown. There's quite a bit of crime, and I've actually helped solve a few of them, and it is a lot of hard work, and they do need funds. So I'm not here saying I'm not willing to pay anything, but I have some concerns. As you had mentioned, growing up in the Valley, a lot of people do go to Costco in Medford to shop. And quite frequently in my shop, I hear people say that. They go, we'll go into Medford and we'll just buy it there while we're in Medford. And I have to convince them to buy it while they're here. And in the coin and gold bullion and silver bullion part of my business, on an $1,100 coin, I might make $20. Well, the city's going to make $20 too. So for me, it's a 50% tax on those items. I have people that walk out of my shop on bullion, for example, if they're going to buy an ounce of silver and I'm a nickel over a shop in Medford, since they're going to buy 100 of them, they're going to wait until they go to Medford on their trip to Costco, and they're going to stop into one of the shops there, and they're going to buy it there. Now, and another thing that concerns me too is a lot of the data that's being used, like the census data. There's a good possibility that they're including online sales, because I know that in my online sales part of my business, we do quite a bit. It's probably 75% of my business now. Used to be 10%, but it continues to go up. And if they're including that data, that won't be revenue that you'll get from this tax. And that's a very serious thing to consider, because if it passes, it is going to do damage. I mean, from an economic perspective, we can't say that it's not going to do damages to the small business. It is. I was in Ashland when they passed the 5% mills tax. And the reason, and I'm not advocating, by the way, a mills tax in Grants Pass, because I think the demographic here is different, and the reason they passed it in Ashland is different. They passed a mills tax because it was something that was avoidable by the local community. In other words, if you lived in Ashland, you could still shop in Ashland, and you could avoid the mills tax by not going out to eat a prepared meal. You could shop at your local store, and it was tax-free. Now, they were thinking about doing a general sales tax, and it was much lower than the 5% mills tax. Ooh, I'm getting close.
30 seconds.
Okay. But there was a lot of outrage on that, because there was a large number of people already traveling to Medford from Ashland, and those numbers would increase. So this tax would kill my business. There's no doubt about it, because you're taking half of my commission basically as a tax. And that, 11 seconds. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I hope you take into consideration what I've said, because it's very serious what's being considered here. It's not something to take lightly. Thanks for listening.
So, Mike.
Well, that was not a good argument.
No. And what was it that the mayor said? What was it that the mayor said? He said that the people who oppose this had said, we don't have a good argument, so we're saying no. So what Mark Hutto just told him, this is reversing everything that we've played up to this point, because we've been playing back for you. The city council patting themselves on the back. Oh, we're brave. They did say that. Oh, we were doing the will of the public. They did say that. The public isn't interested in public safety, which this guy just said that he is, and he helped solve a couple of those, and that they're kind of stupid because they don't have good arguments. So what you just heard from the citizen's point of view of a business owner isn't a good argument. It's not well thought out. There's no logic. This mayor will be up for re-election in this next election. That's what he said.
Yep. Well, because in their world, you didn't make an argument that supported their position. If you made that, then, oh my gosh, what an erudite fellow.
Okay, so let's hear what the next person has to say. This person probably is just going to be babbling.
Yeah.
The 7 task force members, 5 of those are likely to be exempt. But in addition, according to what I saw today from Jay's slide, unique exemptions when the point of service is outside Grants Pass. I did a little a calculation. I was trying to just kind of target some of the businesses and how much they pay, and I chose Hellgate as one of those because Robert was on the committee. I was thinking, okay, Hellgate will probably pay $500,000 to $750,000 a year in the sales tax with the number of people. I was calculating the 70,000 people that he said he sends down the river. But from that slide today, when the point of service is outside Grants Pass, his point of service is outside of Grants Pass. He's exempt. So now you have one that is on that list. I want to point out the Chamber of Commerce supports public safety. We worked really hard in the last 2 ballot elections to get the public safety measures passed. It's really important to us. It's important to our businesses. I support the idea of giving the juvenile justice system open. I think that's a terrific idea. I think it'll help alleviate a lot of the pressure. I don't support the idea of you taking a $3 million debt, and that's what you're asking to do. I was a little tiny business person. We did $2 million a year in our business, and if you'd asked me to take on $20,000 in debt, I would have questioned that. The city is now asking you to take on $3 million in additional debt by passing this. Your $5 million for your $1.79, the extra $1 million that they're getting with public safety, and they need a total of $8 million. They're asking you to take on additional debt. That's a lot of dollars, and look at your overall budget. Looking at from the budget point of view, that's a big risk. Speaking of risk, city government employees don't take any risk on a daily basis on their paychecks. Businesses take risk every single day. They can't set budgets. You can't set a budget for a business and think it's going to work out at the end of the year, because it doesn't. You adjust as you go. So these businesses are at risk every single day. I ask you, the city councilors that have worked hard the past 5 years, since 2009, when there was a recall, I ask you to vote no on this. I ask you, please bring this community together. We need to unite, not divide, and that's what you're doing to us as a business community. Just say no. Either resolution, either one of them works well.
God, she's really stupid.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have any good arguments. This is what the mayor has after the election's over. He summed it up by saying she doesn't have any good arguments. And as much as I like Dan DeYoung, what did Dan DeYoung say? These people obviously do not back public safety. She says, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce. We back public safety. No, they don't. This is not what Dan DeYoung heard. Dan DeYoung, I like the guy, but I think he's kind of misquoting her. They're taking a cue from Cheryl Walker, completely upside down, backwards, misquoting people.
Well, you know,
I
I had a little objection to some of the stuff that she was saying, just in the respect that, hey, she's willing to nail us people in the county every time a levy comes around. And that's just fine with her, but she doesn't want to be bothered with the sales tax because that affects her directly.
I agree with you 100%, but what does this quote over my shoulder say?
Yes. No, I know. Hey, listen, there was nothing wrong with her argument. Listen, even if she's wrong in what she's saying, it was a well put together argument. Now, there is one other objection that I had to what she was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what her name is?
Yeah,
okay.
She's the head of the Chamber of Commerce.
Right. Yeah.
One
I
other
can't remember what it is right now, though.
One other objection that you had to what she was saying.
Objection. Let me see. I want to shut down yes, Department of Education and the it's the EPA or yes,
it's the Chamber
and
of
the
Commerce.
EPA. Yes,
they have no better supporter. The city council doesn't have a better supporter than the Chamber of Commerce. But according to our mayor, summing up all the opposition, what she's saying is we don't have a good argument, so we're saying no.
Right.
This is sort of rewriting history just a little bit, isn't it? This is what they're telling each other when you're not watching. We're bringing this out to you so that you know not only what they're saying, but what they're saying and paraphrasing us. Really? Is that accurate in paraphrasing what the head of the Chamber of Commerce just told them for either him or Dan DeYoung? And not even counting Roy Lindsay, who's saying, well, you know, these people, when I tried to say to them, well, what about the children? We don't care about that. Just say no. Really?
Well,
this is all they're hearing from us.
I remember now what it was. You know, she's saying they need $8 million. No. They don't need $8 million. They want $8 million.
Right.
Okay. They've been getting by on 5 here. You know, and they've got a heck of a lot better police force operation going on, public safety operation than the rest of the county does. That's for sure.
But they don't support
they just
public
want to add
safety.
$3 million.
They don't support it. According to Dan DeYoung, they just don't support it. This is what he's hearing. Is it, you know, I can't hear anything that you're saying, so I guess what you're saying is you're against everything, right?
Well, you know what the thing is that they never expect to see any of this stuff that we're playing tonight ever again. Once it happens, it gets it evaporates into the ether and it's gone forever. and they never ever expect this to come back around and be called on it. The thing is this thing's a little embarrassing, so they say a few things about, to make each other feel better, because there isn't any public out there sitting there consuming that, going, oh yes, oh yeah,
and bad
that's
things
really
about
good.
us.
No, they're making themselves. Yeah, they're making themselves feel better about their situation, and then they're going to move on, and thank God that's over with.
And the most fun thing, as the mayor said, now we don't need to be talking about this for a while. The most fun thing that we do, and all the work that we do, is take a statement, let's say, by Keith Heck, and put it up against a statement by Keith Heck, and we let Keith fight against Keith, right? Or Cheryl Walker. This is great. Or Simon Hare. We got 3 of them this time. Well, that's so strange. And we just let them fight against each other. I never said that about the sheriff. And here's the footage of him saying it about the sheriff. Well, I'm going to cut the power because that's disruptive. Why is that disruptive? Because it shows that I'm lying? Yeah. That's disruptive. What does the next person have to say, Mike?
Hi, my name is Richard Emmons. I'm a resident of the city of Grants Pass. I'm glad to be one. To the mayor and the council and the staff, I appreciate this time to speak to all of you. I want to speak to the issue of uncertainty, and Colleen spoke to it to a degree, but just when you're in business, you have so much uncertainty today just from the federal, state, and now the local government. At the federal level, we've been dealing with Obamacare and the impact on providing benefits to our employees, even for ourselves. Tremendous uncertainty. At the state level, they just passed mandatory sick leave. This is a big uncertainty for businesses. This past week, I had a workman's comp audit at my business. 6 months ago, I had an unemployment audit. Would we be looking forward to sales tax audits?
Yes.
So there's uncertainty revolving this whole sales tax issue. Because even if it doesn't pass, there's still going to be uncertainty in the minds of potential businesses.
Yes.
Whether or not to start a business in Grants Pass.
This is what we've been saying from the beginning.
The public safety levy at the county level, it's the Energizer Bunny. It comes back and it comes back.
Colleen doesn't look happy about that, but okay.
I would say put a stake in it. Kill this idea of a sales tax. This is a rogue tax that we don't need.
A rogue tax.
When someone wants to start a business in downtown Grants Pass, they often have to sign a 3 to 5 year lease. They're signing their name that even if their business fails, they still have to pay that rent. And they really have no idea whether or not the sales tax is going to hurt their business or not make any difference. It certainly doesn't help their business. It doesn't make us a place people want to come to. So I really want you to think about the uncertainty that a sales tax would do. And I can appreciate from the city standpoint wanting a permanent tax rather than a temporary tax.
No.
Because a permanent tax would eliminate some of the city's
till the end of time.
I can appreciate them wanting that, but it would add tremendous uncertainty to the business community. And a little bit of uncertainty in a business keeps you on your toes. The retail store owners need to understand, what are my consumers going to want to buy? What color shirt should I buy, or handbags, or whatever they sell? They have to look out in the future and think, what do they want to buy? Tremendous uncertainty. So I would trade a little bit of uncertainty at the city level to eliminating a tremendous amount of uncertainty at the city business level. Let's not kill the golden goose. 20 years ago, we stopped the road from going through 6th and 7th Street and turning a massive highway. Let's not kill the downtown with a sales tax. Thank you for listening.
They weren't listening.
Listen, that is a killer argument.
Yep.
That's one of the best ones I've ever heard.
No, you got that wrong, Mike. What was it the mayor says? We don't have a good argument, so we're saying no.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have a good argument.
Yeah. What was that guy talking?
This is the mayor. I keep saying this. This is the mayor's summary after the vote, after sitting in on this. The mayor was the one that was calling on this guy. He called on each person who got up and said these things. And was the mayor listening, or was he doing what Cheryl Walker does, scribbling 100 miles an hour, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you? They're not hearing these people.
We could always revisit the mayor's comment, too, if you like.
Yeah, let's do that right now.
Okay.
Well, I certainly agree that it took a very brave council to try and tackle a county-wide problem. And the only thing that could generate that kind of revenue, as we found out, was some sort of sales tax. And so we knew that the city of Grants Pass voters were already paying $5.50 on top of the 58 cents that the county people pay. We pay that same 58 cents and then pay $5.50 more.
So we thought we'd stack on some extra.
Pay for our city services, which I think we do a very good job of managing.
We could do it without taking it to the
as
people.
Council, as far as staff. And so I think we asked a really tough question. We got a clear answer, and that really helps us go forward because we don't have to talk about that in the near future.
Yeah.
But I do expect that it would be a chance for the voter to be more engaged this year in the campaigns of our county commissioners and of our 4 city council seats, because it's important who sits up here and it's important who sits over there at the county.
Yes, it is.
And we know that our county-wide system has suffered through a lack of trust. Whether it's warranted or not can be argued all day long, but that trust level just keeps people from even thinking the issues all the way through. And then they see a simple concept of no new taxes. They don't have to articulate an argument. All they have to do is say, nope, nope, no. We don't have a good argument, so we're saying no.
There you go.
Yes. So, you know, my lack of trust is what keeps me from thinking clearly. See, this goes back to the Mark Goins argument that what you just need to do is trust, give yourself over freely to government and never ever question what they say. Then everything will be just fine. But
would you please believe in your politicians? I mean, what's the world coming to?
Your problem here is you're questioning government. Stop doing that.
Now, who was it that had something to say about those who question government? Slips my mind. Oh, yes, the county clerk. Those who question government are morons.
Mm-hmm.
Our county clerk. The guy that was going to be counting and did, last time, count his own votes. To question that is to be a moron, Mike. And listen, why is it that people are getting one after another and after another coming up to the microphone, being tasked by Mayor Fowler to say something, and then they're just spouting gibberish? They don't have good arguments. They've got nothing. The entire business community and the Chamber of Commerce, Evangel Bookstore, you know, Rob Pell, everybody out there except for the 20% that always votes for this kind of stuff, and none of them had a good argument, and we can now safely, you know, ignore what they had to say. This is the summary put out by the council to itself. We just happen to be showing you what they're telling each other. Yes, I agree with even Dan DeYoung is agreeing with them. Roy Lindsay, we would expect that, but even Dan DeYoung, the former editor of the Courier, yes, well, I agree. You know, this had to be done. We're following the will of the people. Who are you talking to?
Well, I think it would have been very interesting to see them make these arguments directly after. You know,
we're doing it now.
No, but what I'm saying is I would like to have seen, you know, I mean, it really would have taken some guts on the part of the mayor after that guy just came up and is talking about how, you know, government is in their way. And can we expect a sales tax audit? Yes, you can. And, you know, a lesser level or a greater level of uncertainty for him and what that means for his business. And right as soon as he's done, have the mayor go, you know what? Yeah, you're not making a good argument here. You know, you're one of these people who just distrusts government, and that's messing with your judgments, making you not think straight. So you don't have a good argument. So you're just saying no. You know, I mean, he would have had a horde of people get up to the podium and forget what they were going to say so that they could, you know, lay a few choice words on him had he done that.
They have their chance now. Sorry, you got to wait. It's coming up in a year. And when time comes to choose this guy to be your mayor again, you have a big choice. And all of the councilors who voted for this thing and are now paraphrasing, Dan DeYoung will be up for election. He may decide to run for county commissioner. What could be better than someone who doesn't even hear the head of the Chamber of Commerce when she says, oh, we're very interested. We've been supporting it. Do you remember who we are? We always support this. No, he doesn't hear that. They're obviously not interested in law enforcement. They're just, Mike, they're obviously not interested.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they're hearing. So it makes you wonder, is it worth even talking to them? Yes, it's worth it to us, because then we can take how they're paraphrasing what you said and we can put it up there for you to see, and then you can laugh right along with us, because that's what we do here. We play back what they say and then we laugh about it. I mean, we could cry, but that'd be a wholly different kind of show. Play the next one, Mike.
My name is Indra Nicholas. I live in the city. I also own a business in the city. I'm just really confused. It seems so complicated with all the exemptions and everything. I voted for the safety levy, so I know there's a real need for safety and changes in our community. My car was stolen once in the last 3
Not
years,
interested in law
burglarized
enforcement.
twice, fairly close to here. So something needs to be done. I'm just wondering, I'm not sure if I'm exempt or not. I have an in-home care agency, so we have caregivers that go into seniors' homes and provide care there. We're non-medical, that was an exemption. We're not an elder care facility where seniors come to live. So it looks like I would be a business, a service that would be taxed. We generate quite a bit of revenue. 3.5 million a year, because there's a huge need here. We have over 100 and probably 50 employees, caregivers, and staff in the area. I could not absorb the tax amount, so that would need to be passed on to our clients who are seniors. Some of whom there's that $1,000 cap for big item, but we're not a big item. 80% of our clients have services 3 to 7 days a week and pay up to $7,500 a month if they're receiving 24-hour care. So is there a cap on that, or are they going to pay these huge taxes because of the care they need? So please take that. I'm nervous. Sorry. Please take that into consideration. We're a retirement community. There's a huge need for senior care. And what would be the cost?
You don't hear her. They're just staring at her top. Brother. Now, the way that Roy Lindsay summarizes these kinds of people who are against this is he tries to talk sense into them, and all they say is they give this simplistic answer: no new taxes. Yeah, but what about this and what about that? Roy Lindsay is explaining it to you. He's taking his time, as he put it, to explain it to you in detail. And you're blathering on about who knows what she's saying, and she's not hearing him because she just says, I don't care, no new taxes. I don't care, no new taxes.
He just wasn't delivering the correct information in the proper way. That's why she didn't get it.
Yeah, right. That's right. And that if he had sat down and talked with her, she'd be 50% convinced that this was a really terrific idea. See, once they hear no new taxes, once they hear that phrase, it has this effect on people that they stop thinking, and they can say, even though she said she's voted for this in the past for the safety levies, Dan DeYoung didn't hear her. The mayor absolutely didn't hear her. Roy Lindsay is quoting her the opposite, and all these folks, they're all against this thing without any reason, without any thinking, without any good arguments, none. And all they can say is no new taxes, like robots. This is the way they're summarizing what you've done. That's all that they can hear. When you get up there, you're the noise that destroys because you're not voting for the politician's dream.
Yeah, and this isn't just some excuse that these guys are making. I believe that Mr. Fowler believes this. I mean, he really does think that these people are narrow-minded, toothless hicks from out in the sticks here in Josephine County who just can't follow it. But he forgot to change the narrative a little, because now these are the city dwellers. This is 80% of the city dwellers that rejected this. So you can't really do the same thing, but oh, whoops, it's already out of the box.
75% of the people who are eligible to vote in the city, and 77% of those eligible. You count everybody, you're counting people who are 6 years old. They're not eligible to vote. 75 to 77% of those who could vote are registered. That's astounding. I didn't know that till I looked at the numbers. And that's before motor voter and automatic registration. These are people who want to be registered. They have to insist on it. Okay. And so of those in this special election, that was only about Grants Pass, 50% of them, I think that's pretty good percentages, voted. Okay. So how do you reconcile the stand that you've taken if you have no humility at all? The word humble just does not appear in your vocabulary. How do you summarize it? Well, they were stupid. They were uninformed. We tried to educate them and they refused to be educated. They heard something real simplistic like no new taxes, and they grabbed onto that and stopped thinking. They said this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very condescending stuff, and I don't even think they understood that, that they were being condescending to the people. It's a mind blower to me, but this is a disease that exists only seemingly behind those walls.
The thing that they forgot more than anything else, more than humility, the thing they forgot more than the actual turnout, the thing that they forgot more than representing the people, they forgot they were being videotaped.
Yes, that's right.
Can't help you guys. Too bad. Now everybody knows what you say. Okay, and then the posted version we're going to do, we'll have Darren Fowler himself saying this in between. I love this kind of stuff, saying it in between each of them. Well, they obviously aren't thinking. They obviously don't know. They obviously have no good arguments. Hey, okay, great. We could do the same thing with Darren Fowler for the people who said, I support law enforcement. He said, no, they don't. Okay, so I love law enforcement. No, you don't. I love law enforcement. No, you don't.
Well, and the thing is that Roy Lindsay and Dan DeYoung, and I think Ken, what's his name?
Ken Hannum, and also
Ken Hannum.
Not Jim Williams, the guy that works at the county and also is on the I don't like that kind of stuff.
I know who you're talking about.
He's and Dennis Roller,
juvenile justice guy. Well, yeah. and the thing is, but they all say something like this. So you could put a different one of them in between every clip if you want to.
The only one who didn't say this was Lily Morgan. And she's out roaming about the country now. She's not strapped in with these guys who are on a toboggan to hell. Well, that's not nice. I mean, because they're misquoting you.
She pushed the eject. She pushed the eject button.
They've got no good arguments. They've got no good arguments.
And listen, clearly Dan DeYoung was embarrassed about it because he was so embarrassed he had to go. He had to leave the county. He had to leave the city, that is, and go out somewhere into the county or somewhere far away so that he could let all the pressure bleed off of him from having.
And he came back, and he was doing what when he came back after this vote?
Oh, he was
a big grin on his face.
Attacking it again. That's what he said.
With a big grin on his face.
Yeah, with a big grin. Yes.
Anyway,
listen, I'm happy for him. He blew off the pressure. That's great. That's fantastic.
No, now's not the right time to blow off the pressure. Now's the right time to learn a lesson.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, now that the pressure is off, maybe you'll be able to see things a little bit clearer.
Well,
you've got a little bit of time here to reconcile. And listen, Dan, I encourage you to come back to the city council and announce you know what I said last week? Oh, that was
it was kind of dumb.
I don't know what I was thinking. I was under the influence of all that pressure.
Yeah.
You know, apparently I when I left the town, I came back, I hadn't bled it all off. It was still pressure on a part of my brain, and now it's off, and I'm feeling better. And I realized that I was wrong, and I'm sorry about that. I won't do that to you again.
Nobody said they're sorry. Nobody. 80%. That's a huge blowout. It's the just about the biggest you can get. You know, 100% more, obviously, but they got a 20% rating. And like I said last night, you got a 20% grade when you were in school. What kind of grade is that? Oh,
Yeah,
no, but we're proud. We're proud. What?
That's where you dropped your pen on the paper a couple of times, made a couple of marks. That gives you a 20.
And that barely is getting your name right on the test.
Right, exactly.
Okay, go ahead. Next one.
Yeah, Tom Hart, live out in the county, but have property and business in Grants Pass.
Totally unbelievable.
The other day, I came to the forum the other day, and one of the things that struck me was that Mr. Kippick was asked what the person that was performing the consultation thought as far as what it would affect business negatively and if any of them may cease to exist. He said they really didn't know. And the other day, on Saturday, I walked from G to I on the various side streets and counted 16 vacancies. There was one that just was a 20-year business that just closed last week. And it's been, for a lot of businesses downtown, a struggle for the last 10 years or so. And this is just simply something that is going to obviously negatively affect a lot of businesses.
Now, Cheryl Walker sees those same closed businesses. She said this in an open public meeting, videotaped. Thank you very much. Oh, that doesn't mean anything. And she sees prosperity. She sees, I go downtown and I see these stores and there's prosperity everywhere you look. And you obviously don't understand economic development, Mr. Matthews. There's prosperity. What's the matter with you?
Yes.
Now, she's in charge of what for the county? She's in charge of economic development for Cheryl Walker's in charge of economic development for the county. There's your answer. Okay, keep playing.
It's not the amount of the tax, it's the perception of the tax. Most of my customers, not most of them, but a lot of them do come from Jacksonville, Medford, California. And I know a lot of those would just bypass Grants Pass because they perceive, well, gee, why should I shop at a town that charges me a sales tax?
That's not a good argument.
Penalize me for shopping there. So I appreciate what you're doing. I was a little, I wish that the task force, or there might have been 2 or 3 different task force to look at different options rather than just simply one option. I think it'd be nice to have more than one choice on the ballot, but anyway, hopefully you'll do the right thing and we won't lose any more businesses downtown.
Now, he didn't say thanks for listening, but almost everybody else did. Totally misplaced.
Yeah, he did say, you know, I appreciate what you're doing. Listen, I think it's time to take a little bit different tactic with these people and start going, listen, you guys, each one of you individual, look them in the eye and go, listen, you guys aren't listening. You know, you've demonstrated this very, very clearly. Not only do you not listen, you have contempt for us. Because you want what you want, and you're going to get it, you know, damn the torpedoes here. So either check yourself and get back to the real world and stop thinking like they want you to and start thinking like we want you to.
Yeah, you're supposed to be our representatives.
Right. Or move along. Do us all a favor and move along. Take a cue from Lily Morgan and hit the bricks.
Well, one of the things that's so important about this, to me, to us, I believe, is that all of the input that county residents, city residents, and approvable vote, all that input ended up being summarized in the little protected time at the end of that meeting that we played for you, summarized by the people who brought this to you, as being stupid, uninformed voters that have stuck with something where they have no reason to do, which is no, 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 nope, 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 nope. As the mayor said, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, and
Really?
and you know what? See, that conjures images of them thinking that you are a baby throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
You know,
And it went even further with my favorite guy, Roy Lindsay. He even told this false, completely made up story about him being a hero. And he's talking with some guy, and the guy's saying, "Well, no new taxes." And as I've said a couple of times, well, but you know, what about the children? No new taxes. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. I just say no new taxes because that's unreasonable. Cheryl Walker does this too. She conjures up these images of people and she knocks them down. It's called a straw man. You set up somebody that's saying something completely, absolutely wrong. Like I supposedly said, according to Cheryl, I'm quoting you, she said, all firefighters are pedophiles. Those are your words, not mine. Nobody would say that. Nobody.
yes.
Not even pedophiles would say that. It's crazy.
Not only that, it could be easily proved that you did if you did say it, you know, and so it's silly for them to try and do that sort of thing.
Although it was in the same meeting. It was only a few minutes ahead of that.
Yeah, she has a history of this sort of thing.
And so when you've got them going to their minutes and rewriting the minutes. This is why I'm a bug about minutes. Well, you know, that's kind of boring. Yeah, but what they do is they go back to the official minutes of their own meeting. Oh, I didn't want to say that. Well, put down that I said I'm totally in favor. Yeah, but you said the opposite. Yeah, well, I want to be on the record as saying I'm totally for it. Man, that's goofing around with history. It's changing things to suit yourself.
And that's what you come to when you don't give a serious consideration of what you're doing before the fact, and then you end up having to change it later because you realize, in the light of testimony of citizens, that you're wrong about it. And,
yeah, but that
you're going to look like an idiot.
That's right. And what that means then is you only have, well, you've got a third opportunity, which is to say nothing, which would be better than this. But you really only have two options. One is to say, boy, that wasn't very smart. Sorry, everybody. And apologize. Okay, you can do that. Gee, 80% is pretty clear. Or you could say, well, the people are obviously stupid. And as Roy Lindsay put it, I tried to talk sense into this guy, and he just, all he would do is robotically respond, no new taxes, no new taxes, no new taxes. And I'm trying to, well, what about the children and the people and the little guys that are being abused by their own parents? And the guy, according to Roy, completely made up. What are you going to do when you've got an elected politician that feels free not only to distort the facts, but to completely make something out of nothing and then deny things that are on tape that they ever happened? That's someone who's not living in our universe. What can you possibly do? We go to the effort to videotape this stuff, and he says, no, you didn't. No, we didn't. No, that's not what's on there. It was in court. No, it didn't. It's not. It didn't happen. It never happened. And let me make up a story about what did happen. A story that nobody can believe. Who in the heck would believe that this? No, nobody believes this. Who is he talking to? I don't mean the imaginary person he's talking to. It's the same people that Cheryl Walker talks to. Why, they love my idea of these junk ordinances. 80%. Sound familiar? Okay, play the next one, please. Sorry.
My name is Ben Pearson. Just something to consider. We sell building materials. A lot of our competition, some of our main competition is in the county. A lot of distributors in Medford currently deliver to Grants Pass, would love to have additional market share here. Given the fact that a lot of our customers would be opposed to paying the sales tax, we may not even get a chance to bid for that business. Or building material margins are very slim, and 2% would be enough to cause us to lose some of that business. So I would hope you would consider that as part of the decision.
So, Mike, this room was packed with people, and this wasn't the only time that people came to tell the city council what they feel. So what was the city council's reaction to all this?
I don't care. You're dumb. Let me see, what else was there? Oh, yes. We didn't properly educate them, or we did properly educate them, but they were too dumb to realize the great truth that we were telling them. And let's see, I know there's one more here. Hang on.
They're not interested in law enforcement.
Not interested in law enforcement. That's right.
So when the Republican Central Committee took a vote to oppose this, the Republican Central Committee, really, when they took a vote to oppose this, it was Roy Lindsay who said, well, one, nobody understands what this is about. What? Number two, the whole vote is illegal. What? After the vote was over, no, that wasn't proper. Let's not release this. And it was Alan Kobrick who wanted the signs taken out of the dang window on a previous one of these. After they had, and was taking them out or calling Cajo and say, take those ads off of there all by himself. He didn't even have the ability to do that. He may be running. This is the state of democracy, the state of the American way of voting for things in Josephine County. I'm sorry, it just is. And the people who are affected by this rhino virus that's going around, they end up, I'm more of a Republican than they are. I'm not even a Republican. I'm a non-affiliated, thank you. And so is Mike. They can't hear you. They just can't hear you. What? What? It's obviously not a good argument because they can't hear you. And they're rewriting history. One more person, I think, which had to end up with this guy. I think he does a killer job of explaining what we'd hope that a different group of city councilors and a new mayor would be able to hear. Go ahead.
Rob Pell, I live in Grants Pass, I have a business here, a couple of properties here. I wanted to make one more clarification on something Jay said earlier, is that on the makeup of the task force, there was one more member, the fellow who owns Elegance was talked about as being a retailer, but my understanding is more than half of his business, being beer and wine, is also exempt. So everyone on the task force at one level or another was exempt. And the guy who's got the jet boat business, he's got no real competing business in Medford that he has to worry about. There are no jet boats in Medford. So really, no one on the task force is really substantially impacted by this, just to be clear. I'd also, for anybody, and maybe Aaron Kubrick or others, I mean, Tom Hart, who just spoke, I mean, his family's had a business here for 50 years. Okay, I've had a business for 20 years. I spoke this morning with Norm Jesse, who's had a business here since 1955. Okay, these are the people who actually know what it is to sell retail around here. The Chamber of Commerce people also know this. And these are the experts. I don't see anyone on the council who really has any retail experience. No big deal, you just don't have it. You have other areas of expertise, okay? You should be asking and listening carefully to what the people who have the expertise.
What an idiot.
What those people say is people around here are very, very price conscious. There is no maybe about it. We heard it from the guy with the gold also. I've had people who leave my store because I don't have a manufacturer's coupon for $1 or $2. They're going to go somewhere else.
No good arguments.
Probably 500,000 transactions in my store in the last 12 years or so. I'm on the floor a lot of the time. I have a lot of experience with it. Okay. I don't really believe that the council has really heard, certainly not from the task force. They didn't hear from people like that. You know, we heard from Jay how many people come into the city every day, but getting back to, I think, where Lily might have been going, was that, you know, I'd like to know how many Costco members there are in Josephine County. I'd like to know how many people in GP or in Josephine County work in Medford and leave every day. I'd like to know how many people from Josephine County go to Jackson County once or twice a month. In other words, how many people could buy in Jackson County without spending one more penny in gas money? How many of those? Because I know it's human nature. If people are already there, they will buy 3 or 4 or 5 more things if they're already there and it's tax-free. And like Tom Hart said, and Norm Jesse this morning said, it's a matter of perception. We'll be a taxed island in a tax-free state. It is a huge gamble. You're gambling with my income, you're gambling with my house, you're gambling with my ability to send my grandkids to college? Would any of you gamble your own retirement, your own house, or your own lifestyle? Because if you wouldn't, having me gamble with mine would be unconscionable. Thank you.
How is that not a compelling argument to them? How is that, he's just blinded by his lack of trust. He's just, he's stuck. That guy, he's one of those narrow-minded people that grabs a hold of no new taxes, and he just can't let go of it, and his brain stops working.
Look,
that is unreal.
It's easy for someone to say, well, they tried something, and so, they're trying something, and isn't okay. And you can have that point of view if you like. But they weren't listening to anyone that was trying to give them advice from the business community, from the Chamber of Commerce, from all these citizens that were showing up. They weren't listening. And now that it's all over and the lessons should be learned, they've said, we were brave for doing it. Okay. We were following the will of the people.
Yes. Yeah, couldn't you tell those people that they were really sending silent messages? Please do this. I'm putting up a front, because somebody told me I need to do this. But what I really want you to do is hit me with a sales tax.
And what are they saying to each other? What are they saying to each other? They aren't saying to each other, look, maybe this wasn't they're not saying it wasn't such a good idea. They're saying it was a great idea.
Each other on the back.
Yeah, they are. And now, and that's different than making a mistake. Okay, because making a mistake, as a matter of fact, if they'd come to us and said, we made a mistake. Okay, has anyone ever made a mistake? I'd say, well, okay, try not to do that so often. But they're not saying that. They're summarizing it as saying it's your fault.
Yeah. Well,
they can't help them.
They're mad because they're not going to get their money, and they're not going to get their money, and they're not going to be able to say, when I was a city councilor, we saved the town by passing a sales tax, and we got, all the law enforcement we needed, and everybody was safe, and everybody was happy, and it was all because of me.
Now, and the bottom line to this is, to me, it's very important. It's what we'd been saying it from the beginning. The bottom line lesson is, because of what Mark Bartholomew, the city lawyer, said in court, they could do this anytime they want to. In fact, they can do it right now without permission from anybody, and they don't need to ask. They can just do it. The lasting effect that should have on any company that wants to move here is, why would I take the risk with a city council, any city council that has that kind of power? Really? They can do it anytime without us? And even more has been, if this city council had learned, if any of them had learned a lesson, you might say, well, maybe the feedback from the people has taught them a lesson. They haven't learned a lesson. This is the worst possible outcome. Number one is, it means the other companies would be wise, probably, honestly, not to move here if given that kind of power. And two, the people who are there, depending on how the vote goes now in a year, they have no regrets. They feel they were brave. They're patting each other on the back. You're the idiots. And worse than not learning a lesson, they've learned the opposite.
Yeah, they can go build their presidential library after their tenure is through, and they can rewrite history on the walls in there. See,
10 years. Bite your tongue. I know what you said, 10 years, but I get it. But they've not learned a lesson. Are they saying to any of you, you can send us an email, we get them every once in a while. Are they saying to you, we kind of blew that, okay, you citizens tried to tell us and we weren't listening. They're still not listening. They're summarizing it by saying, we won the war. No, you didn't.
Yes, we won the war. It was so great.
And from here in my little bunker, we're winning the war every day. No, you're not, sir. And that's crazy talk. No, they were faultless. You're the ones that had the fault.
And listen, if you want to tell us what morons we are, badcounty@cpros.com.
Yeah, feel free. Right. Because there was a letter to the editor today, and it was written by a guy that just thinks that everybody is essentially wrong about this. He said, This is Dennis Ingalls. Unless I'm wrong, I think he's related to Ann Ingalls, who works for the county in planning. Or she used to.
Who was, I believe, related to Laura Ingalls, who,
Little House on the Prairie?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Right. He said this election's outcome was left in the hands of those business owners who demonized the proposal from the outset. The loudest voice, well, I think sometimes that's Mike and sometimes it's me, the loudest voice casts a definitive role in the shaping of individual minds. What minds? Not for the good of the community, but to push their own agenda. Well, everybody you saw up there, all those speakers, they were pushing their own agenda, including the lady from the Chamber of Commerce. Why should a minority of voters decide on what is or isn't prudent?
This guy's got dyslexia here.
For the rest of Josephine County.
He clearly thought it was 2080 when it was 80-20, see?
Well, you would think that based on what the city councilor said.
What? That is bizarre. This
is after the fact. This is after the fact. After the votes are in.
Oh boy.
The loudest voices. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, those people who always win. We're on the winning team. We've always won. We've never, ever, ever lost. And yet we're the noise that destroys, Mike.
How do you demonize 80% of the voting population in the city and then expect to win them back with an argument later? What, you're trying to shame them now so they'll feel bad about what they did. Oh, you're so bad. You shouldn't have done that. So the next time we hit you with a tax proposal, you better vote for it or we're going to say you're bad again.
Well, you could certainly get someone to get up in a church and explain how we're really following Satan.
It's amazing.
By questioning our politicians? You're got to be kidding me.
Listen, we need to make this county a model for turning politics on its head.
Yes, please.
This is completely ridiculous that you would let numbskulls like this. Listen, as long as they're calling us stupid, I think I can call them a numbskull with impunity here. Come on. Come on, people. Let's turn this thing around. Vet your candidates coming up in this next election and put some people in there who might reflect your values.
Now, be sure, because we've been following when the candidates show for commissioner, especially show up at various places, we've been following very carefully what they've been saying and what they've not been saying. I just asked Mike today, when you heard that candidate mention this, did the subject of a future property tax even come up? And what was your answer, Mike?
I don't remember hearing that. No.
No, I don't either. Now, yes. I would suggest to you, well, you choose any way that you want to. I like the person with the mustache, not the one without the mustache, whether there's a guy or girl. Okay, so look, I would suggest to you that the bifurcation point should be or could be, what do you think
about the fork in the road for the layman?
Thank you. Or the strange glasses that people wear.
Yes.
What is your position on declaring that perhaps we should have a break from? You can't force this on people, but you could give them advice. Have a break from suggesting yet another and another and another and another property tax.
I think
4-year break. And those who say, oh no, I don't want to commit myself, I'm not going to vote for them. And those of us like me that say, I think that we need a break from this, that the public deserves a break, that you would consider. And anybody who says, no, I don't like the idea of taking a break, don't vote for me. I mean,
listen,
it's stupid.
You're suggesting a poll. I'm suggesting there has been a poll.
Yes.
I think there's been like 8 of them.
Yes.
And so it's pretty clear, and the gap keeps widening.
Yes.
With each passing levy. So I think we have a pretty good finger on the pulse of that one.
Senator Ron Wyden. Yes, wider and wider. So I'm going to suggest that if you are talking with a candidate and they're not crystal clear, this has become more clear because they can't hide it. So on one side, you've got Keith Heck, you got Tony Webb. Both are in favor of a bigger property tax and a littler property tax, and me. Okay, that's one. And then on the other side,
they're not in favor of you, Dale.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. And then, as Tony Webb said, you're not going to win. Okay, thank you, Tony. I needed that advice. And then she might be right. And then on the other side is the running against Cheryl Walker would be Mark Seligman, Cheryl Walker, and Ron Smith. So far.
And Lily Morgan.
And Lily Morgan. That's right. It's my fault. So, so now, Lily, I believe she's saying that she could see some reasons why a property tax would be a good thing. You already know what Cheryl Walker thinks. I mean, it's like written across her face here. And Mark Seligman says he's not in favor of that. And
although, hang on just a second here, because she said on this program, and she said a couple of times that she doesn't see that a property tax would be something to permanently take off the burner, but it's clear that that's not something that the people want right now. She has said that. So that's the indicator of that is that she's not in favor of that at this time. That doesn't mean that down the road she's not going to be, and that's something to be watching.
Well, she works for the county. Okay,
right.
There's that, and she's also in law enforcement with the county.
Right.
So, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, listen. I understand how you could certainly be led to believe she's an insider.
Yeah, she knows a lot. Well, Simon Hare knows a lot.
Right.
He does. He really does. He's misguided, but he knows a lot. I mean, you ask him about timber stuff, and man, late successional reserves.
Yeah.
Spread that on toast. Yeah, right. So, but he knows a lot about that kind of stuff. He's just following the wrong advice. That guy whispering in his ear, we've talked about that before. Yeah, it's okay to lie, Simon. That's all right. You cut off the microphone, buddy. That's a real good plan. Not my boss. So, Mike, how would you summarize what we've done this evening for our viewing audience?
I say that we have shown all of the horrible arguments for the sales tax and how righteous the local councilors are, and summed it up pretty well.